So we've been sick, y'all. Y'all already know we haven't been around, but we're almost 100%. Braxton is still struggling. I got a little bit of congestion, but I'm good. We are almost back. So of course I'm sitting here with 100 million pounds of clothes to wash. I mean, not to wash, to fold and put away. Because when you're sick, who feels like doing laundry? So, okay. So y'all know I'm gonna share. I'm always sharing something. So I gotta tell y'all something, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna take a picture and show you in a minute. But I don't garden as much or plant as much as I used to. But this thing ministered to me. I'm telling you, it's gonna bless you. Hold on. So I planted a cabbage. Let me show it to you. But it was not the season for it. Hold on. I planted this cabbage, right? And it was still summer. And so in the beginning, that cabbage was just looking at me. It was this tall. And I know it's a fall vegetable to plant, but I planted it anyway. It looked at me like I was crazy, right? So I haven't been paying any attention to it. Now, I started out this small. So we didn't go to church yesterday, but just because we don't go to church doesn't mean that we don't have an experience with God. And so some people, I feel like I feel like making a public service announcement to say, when you talk to somebody who is not spiritual, who's religious, they'll say, did you make it to church today? No, you're asking the wrong question, because I could make it to church, but I still could not make it to church. You understand what I'm saying? I could make it to the building, but my heart could be far from it. So when people call and ask, did y'all make it to church today? I want to say to them, why don't you ask a different question? Did you have an encounter? Did you have a life-changing experience today? Why don't you say that? Because that does not necessarily involve the four walls of the church. People need to get it. I'm telling you, get it. Okay? They better catch it, because in my home is where some of the greatest revelations hit. But they don't hit me in my home because I'm just doing other things. They hit me in my home because I make my life a lifestyle of worship, a lifestyle of righteousness, and trying to live right for God all day, every day, whatever. So anyway, back to what I was saying. We some Sundays we don't get to go to church, but every Sunday and most every just random all the time, my husband and I have these revelations that hit us, and I promise you we need a notebook or video diary of these things that hit us when God is speaking, and different things minister to us. So back to this cabbage plant. What I'm telling you, it set my soul free. My husband and I will be in the kitchen and we'll say, now that will preach, and it really will. What happened was, we are now in fall. Okay, the weather has changed, or is changing. It didn't matter that I wanted to plant the seed prematurely. Okay, I just wanted to plant it because I wanted to get a head start. But it didn't matter. That's why God is responsible for what happens after we plant the seed. But anyway, so I planted the seed and I just ignored it, right? I promise you, as soon as the weather started changing, just tweaking just a little bit, that thing has taken off like never before. Like, it's amazing to me because I've never grown cabbage. But here's the thing. Once the atmosphere and the environment became conducive to the full potential of growth for that thing, for that season, there was no stopping it. The temperature was just right. The wind was just right. The soil is just right. And so what ministered to me was, we have to realize that the seeds that have been planted in us, even as children, even as babies, when our parents take us to church, seed been planted. And in your life, you say, Lord, why am I waiting on this? Why am I waiting for you to do this? Why, Lord, why? But when I'm going to tell you something, when the season is right, when everything in your atmosphere and your surrounding and your location and everything is just right for the season of growth, for that particular thing in your life to grow, it's going to blossom. I promise you. I said, Lord, I thank you. I just got so excited because everything he said concerning us, he does not lie. He cannot lie. Everything he has promised us, it's going to come to pass. Let the season become conducive. Wait on it. Just wait on it and relax, because as soon as that season comes for you, there's nothing that can stop it. There's nothing that can stop that cabbage from growing right now. When I tell you it's in a shaded area, I have not been out there in weeks, and I have not even looked over at that cabbage. And that cabbage have been blossoming, growing better than the plants that I'm attending to. Here's another lesson. All seeds does not mature and blossom at the same time. It has everything to do with the season. And so we just have to not faint, and not get discouraged, because some things are flourishing in our lives and some things aren't. Well, it's not the season. You've not gotten into the right season. Maybe your mind isn't in the right season for it. Maybe your heart is not in the right season for it. And God is not going to release anything out of its season, because guess what? That's on him. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to release anything out of its season, because he wants for us more than we want for ourselves. He wants it for us more than we. And another thing, why would he release something out of its season when you're not ready for it? It's just going to die. And so the scripture says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So we serve a God, and we do serve a God who say, redeem the time. Don't waste it. So he wouldn't waste it. You know what I'm saying? God knows the end from the beginning from the end. So he knows, he knows when to release things into our lives, and when we're mature enough to handle it and to aid it in flourishing, And so what that thing ministers to me, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to get my notebook out, because I have a notebook of things that God have ministered to me that really have impressed upon my heart. And I write it out. I write my 3 points, my conclusions. I write it out and I leave it in that notebook, because one day the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And to be called to do something is the preparation to be called to do something. So we always have to be ready, So that was our experience yesterday concerning, being in the presence of God and hearing what he has to say specifically to us and for us, and even through us. And so, that was amazing to me. It was like I had been to church. I said, thank you, Lord. And a lot of times I just get broke. I just break down and cry so much, because I feel so grateful that he would allow things to minister to me. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I can't even breathe without him. But he loved me enough to be in my midst and to minister to me personally, And so I'm not saying I don't need anybody else, but just in case you're in a situation like I was, my kid's sick, can't make it to church. My car went down, but it's back up again. I don't serve a limited God, and so he knows where I am, and he knows what I'm doing. And so he's saying, okay, just like I would do if my baby got sick, or if my baby couldn't make it to where I was. I'm about to get emotional. Why am I about to cry about it? But if Lily or June or Braxton were adults and they couldn't make it to where I was, honey, I'd be on the first thing smoking trying to find my babies, just to let them know you're not alone, So he stopped by to tell me, hey, you matter. You matter. We just have to get to a place that we realize that, we do want to be in the service. We do want to be, around people of God. But just in case, you got to have that relationship with God that says, you got to have that relationship. I had to tighten up, honey. My God. You have to have that relationship that says, if I can't, because what happens if something happened to you and you can't speak, or you can't walk, or you can't talk, or you can't communicate with other people? You have to have that relationship with God that, is strong, and rooted and grounded, and that says no matter what, he speaks to me. Some people put so much faith into, their leaders, and they deify them sometimes. They put them over God, or, and you just can't do that. And so I'm excited that I've been in the church for a long time, raised in the church. And so I understand where everyone's place is. You know what I'm saying? And I love God because he comes before anybody. And I come before anybody when it comes to him. I am number one to him. I'm gonna make y'all laugh right now. I've been in the spirit. I done got emotional. Braxton, come here, Braxton. Look at his nose. Come here. Listen, Braxton, June, go get me some tissue. He look like Martin Payne. Y'all know how Martin come out there with that snotty nose. What's the little boy name? I can't remember the name. June, go get me a roll of tissue, baby. I'm about to tell y'all something that's gonna make y'all laugh, okay? Y'all know I've been doing the vegan thing, right? Look how slender my face is. I mean, I'm feeling great, okay? But I'm feeling hungry. Like, I have never felt full, okay? So, I'm going to do some tweaks to my diet. I don't know if I'm going to keep going vegan. Somebody better encourage me. What I want to do is add back my eggs and cheese. Now, I don't need the meat, but the eggs and cheese, I'm having a hard time. Eggs and cheese, and I can still do the almond milk. I'm hungry. And you just don't realize how much milk and eggs is in stuff. I don't know if I am. I don't know. I'm just having a moment. It's okay, though. I can have a moment. It's all right. It's my diet, my life. I can do what I want to do. But I love being held accountable, not in a way that makes me feel like you're the vegan police, but, in a way to say, oh, you can do it, Sharon, or, or you can't do it, or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, maybe I need to get on the scale again and encourage myself to just keep going, keep pushing. Now watch people who trying to look for a reason not to go to church. It's people out there, they're looking for a reason to sit at home, which to me is the spirit of witchcraft and the spirit of Jezebel. But anyway, let me just keep on moving. But I feel like when God meets you at your house, when you can't get to church, your heart is already there. Your heart is at church. Not, I'm never going back to the church because they did me wrong. No, wrong attitude. I feel like God is not promoting, but God is showing that the relationship with him one-on-one is the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? He did say, forsake not yourself. So, I'll be going back to church next Sunday because I haven't been able to go. But I just love the Lord. How he's consistent. He's constant. You know what I'm saying? He's never changing. He speaks to me, and I just love it. And he speaks to you too. Let's listen. Are you sorting? Yeah. What did you say the black said? The black said what? Don't put me in the what? Hey yo, beach house vibes, maneuver the jet ski.